last month. I look pretty good, right? Thank you. So that's okay as far as I'm concerned, but it's not the case for everybody. This guy said that younger workers are just smarter, and this has spread throughout tech, I think. And I was on this stage or this platform a couple years ago and started talking about it and realized that it was sort of pervasive. And so as you do here in Silicon Valley, we started a company, of course, and it's called Next for Me, and we are a resource for workers over 50. The more we dug into it, the more we found out that it is just growing by the day. And as we walk through, we see that diversity and inclusion is about people of color, is about LGBT, and women. But age has not really factored into this conversation a whole lot yet. So we started the company, we went across country, talked to thousands of people through our newsletter, through events, and we found out that it is true, and especially in tech, that workers over 50 are not being considered in a lot of cases. So we, of course, published a report called Understanding the 50-Plus Worker, and I will go into a little bit of the details of what we found, and there's more of it, of course, on nextforme.com, but it's important to understand how big this set of people is. So there are 120 million people over 50 in this country, and that's about a third of the population. And through often no fault of their own, I'm sorry. Yeah, no fault of their own, they're living longer. But we are living 20 to 30 years longer than 50 years ago. A kid born today has greater than 50% chance of living to 100. So here we go, 10,000 people are turning 65 every day. Here's the unfortunate part about this. 50% have less than $50,000 in savings. One medical incident can wipe that out. It's something called the sandwich generation. The kids are coming home with a lot of college debt. Your parents are getting sick. Oh, the 2007 crash wiped out my 401k. So a lot of people who did all the right things they were supposed to do and prepared are facing this issue now, and the workplace is not so welcoming. So 60% intend to continue working past 65. That's a lot of people, and a lot of people who are being pushed out kind of silently along the way or blatantly. You know, this happens in this very subtle way, and when it's happening to you, you don't even recognize it a lot of the time, or the people who are doing it don't even know it, and you'll see that it's not part of the conversation about diversity and inclusion yet, and so that's kind of why we're around here. So here's a perfect example of this. He knew that the reason he lost his job was basically he was getting too old, too expensive, and they wanted a younger worker to come in. We hear these stories every single day. The people who have admitted it in our research, about 15% have said, I have faced this, or I just left on my own because I knew it was coming down the pipe. The great thing is that because we're a generation that went through some trials in the past and we sort of have an activist edge, is that we still remain positive throughout a lot of this. Here's what a lot of people said. What's not happening in organizations or on our own is that we can't have these conversations. It's embarrassing, there's some shame associated with it a lot of the time, and we need environments where we can talk about this openly. And I was in Ohio 2 weeks ago, we did 3 of our events, where people were crying in the aisles because they were so afraid of losing their house, losing the stability that they've been comfortable in their lives. And other people were cheering at the same time, saying, you know, we do have the energy and we do have the positive side to us that we can get through this. Hiring practices and job boards, it was great to see the LinkedIn thing. I'm telling you, LinkedIn is not built for anybody over 50. A lot of people admit to age-proofing their resumes or doing that on LinkedIn, not talking about experiences they had 30 years ago. Listen, that could be very relevant, but it gets their resume pushed out very quickly in a lot of cases. And in real life, the networking is really paying off for people. When they do get together, they find ways to support each other. Here's one of our wonderful stories. A woman who, her husband died, her best friend died, and her dad died, all within 6 months. She was the CEO of Dwell magazine. She walked out the door and said, I just can't anymore. And before you know it, she was getting calls again and saying, come back to work, Michaela. We need you. Not at Dwell, she created her own thing. So a lot of people, when faced with being pushed out or not welcome in the workplace, are starting their own things a lot of the time. And so we see that a lot. Here's something that you can do if you're in a company now that has a posture that says, we are diverse, we are inclusive, and you haven't considered age yet. We're involved with a project called the Silicon Valley Longevity Project. It's Airbnb, Visa, Udemy, Reboot, Excel, Gap, us, and Intuit, who have made a pledge and say, we are in favor of intergenerational workplaces. And so you can all do that. Come find me, and I'll help you, and you can get engaged in this. It's early days, but it's great to see that this is happening and that these people have stepped up already, and it'll be interesting to see who else steps up. Carol, my co-founder, and I yesterday spent the afternoon going booth by booth by booth in the job fair, right? And a lot of, we said, does your diversity and inclusion program include age? A lot of people, if it was part of it, they were very quick to respond and how that's been working out for them. But I would say, and this is a very good crowd of companies that they care about diversity and inclusion, half of them at least said, I don't know what you're talking about. That doesn't have anything to do with our D&I program at all. So there's a lot of room for improvement. It's great that Tech Inclusion is doing this, and it's making people more aware. And it's like, I know yet another underrepresented group, but come on. There's a lot of us, and we still have a lot to offer. Intergenerational teams have proven to be more productive, more effective than little silos of people who are just like me. So that's our story. Come visit us at Next for Me. If you'd like to read our report, you can find it there as well. And I hope you join the Longevity Project with us. Thank you very much.